We also have to restore nature's barriers, the wetlands, the oceans. The barrier islands that can take the first blows and protect the people of the Gulf Coast. If catastrophe comes, the American people must be able to call on a competent government. When I am president, the days of dysfunction and cronyism in Washington will be over. No more Browning. No more heads of the Arabian Horses Association in charge of FEMA. The director of FEMA will report to me. He or she will have the highest qualifications in emergency management. And I won't just tell you that I'll insulate that office from politics. I'll guarantee it by giving my FEMA director a fixed term, just like the director of the Federal Reserve, so that they will outlast the time that I'm in office. I don't want FEMA to be thinking for 1 minute about the politics of a crisis. I want FEMA to do its job, which is protecting the American people, not protecting a president's political future. That's a promise I'll make when I'm president of the United States of America. As soon as we take office, my FEMA director will work with emergency management officials in all 50 states to create a national response plan. Because we need to know before disaster comes who will be in charge and how the federal, state, and local governments will work together to respond. But putting up defenses is not enough. It's not sufficient, because renewing trust with the people of New Orleans is not just about stronger levees and pumping systems, it's about people. So many of us live a life that is ordered with comforts we can count on. Somewhere we know there are people who don't have a house, though, with a sturdy roof, who have nowhere to go when they can't make rent, who don't have a car to drive or another city to go to when a storm is coming, who can't get care when they're sick, don't get an education that would give them a chance to achieve their dreams. We know that there are so many fellow Americans who are crying out for help, and we don't listen as a government, and sometimes we as citizens don't listen. We decide that those children who aren't learning, those are somebody else's children, not our children. We decide those folks in the 9th Ward who still haven't gotten anything back after the storm, that that's somebody else's problem. Too often we lose our sense of common destiny, that understanding that we are all tied together. And when a woman has less than nothing in this country, that makes us all poor.
Right.
And that is why the second thing we need to do is to make sure that Reconstruction is making a real difference in people's lives. Across this city, we see the evidence that George Bush's promises were empty. It's not acceptable that federal money is not reaching communities that need it, or that Louisiana officials have filled out millions of forms just to get Reconstruction funds. When I am president, the Federal Rebuilding Coordinator will report directly to me, and we will ensure that resources show results. It's time to cut the red tape so that the federal government is a partner, not an opponent, in getting things done here in New Orleans and here in the Gulf Coast. Instead of giving no-bid contracts to companies headed by the president's former campaign manager, we will make sure that rebuilding benefits the local economy. I have worked across the aisle in the Senate to crack down on no-bid contracts and to make sure that emergency contracting is only done immediately after an emergency. When I am president, if there is a job that can be done by a New Orleans resident, the contract will go to a resident of New Orleans. And we'll provide tax incentives to businesses that choose to set up shop in the hardest hit areas. Instead of letting families languish in trailers, we will ensure that every displaced resident can return to a home. Today, tens of thousands of homeowners could end up without assistance because of funding shortfalls, and that is unacceptable. We must work with Louisiana to make the Road Home program more efficient. It's got to work more effectively. We should set a goal to approve every application for Road Home assistance within 2 months. Not 6 months, not 18 months, 2 months. That's how long it should take. We need to increase affordable rental property so that we can bring down the cost of renting a home. Instead of shuttered hospitals and provider shortages, we will help the Gulf region rebuild a healthcare system that serves all of its residents. We'll provide incentives like loan forgiveness to bring more doctors and nurses to New Orleans. And we'll build new hospitals, including a new medical center downtown and a state-of-the-art veterans hospital that can serve the veterans who have served us so bravely in our foreign wars. Instead of unsafe streets and shocking crimes, we will help rebuild New Orleans' criminal justice system. We'll start a new Cops for Katrina program to put more resources into community policing so that heroic officers, men and women like Nicola Cotton, who gave her life serving the city she loved, will have more support than they're getting right now. We've got to make it easier on our police officers to do their jobs in this city, for the DAs to do their job in this city, for the prosecutors and judges to do their job in this city. We will launch a regional effort that brings together federal, state, and local resources to combat crime and drugs across the Gulf Coast. The children of New Orleans are America's children. We cannot stand by while they see a future filled with violence or poverty or hopelessness. Our true measure of success must be ensuring that the children of New Orleans and the Gulf Coast can dream the same dreams as every child in America. And that is why the third part of our effort to rebuild trust must be providing a world-class education to every student from the day they are born till the day they graduate from college. Every student. Over 2 years after Katrina, too many schools are still closed. Kids are still going to classes in makeshift buildings and trailers. Class sizes run as large as 40 children for each teacher. That is not acceptable. It's time for FEMA to speed up payments of $58 million that Congress recently allocated for school repairs. It's time to invest in education so that New Orleans has the first-class school system that it has needed for so long. And that starts with the person standing in front of the classroom. Many heroic, high-quality teachers have returned to New Orleans, but we need more. That's why I've called for $250 million to bring quality teachers back to the Gulf region. Any teacher or principal who commits to come here for 3 years should receive an annual bonus, and those who teach in subject areas where we face shortages, such as math and science, should receive an additional bonus.